Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to ATM Spellbound. Tonight I'm trying to get a little bit ahead on videos to get things back to order and to a situation that I can keep up with other stuff that's going on. So we are picking back up basically right after last episode. And what I would like to do, first and foremost, before we get into what we're actually going to be working on this episode, I am going to get a nether star. Another nether star, because we're going to need it for something here shortly. So I would like to get that. And I spawned this one in the overworld. Just because that would make things a bit easier on us. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to hang out in this room for just a second. And what we're going to be doing is we are actually going to, because I want to get some honey glazed ham going, because I promised you guys that for like Christmas time, and there was really only two things that we needed. We need smoked ham and we need a honey bottle. We will be setting up an automatic way later for smoked ham, but what we're going to be focusing on today is the honey bottle. And to that effect, we are actually going to be starting into some resourceful bees. Now, we're actually going to bypass going with the beehives entirely this time around, and we're going to be shooting straight for an apiary, because we can actually craft an apiary just using a nether star and some honeycomb blocks. So while we're out hunting bees, I think we're going to take with us just some empty bee jars. Quite a bit of bee jars. Let's go with like 2 stacks worth to start with. And since we're going to be skipping beehives, we're not going to do the same automation that we did last time around, but I figured it's actually going to be fairly easy for us to just skip beehives entirely and go straight for apiaries. The worst part's going to be the honeycomb blocks, but I have a plan for that, so let's go ahead. Let's just dump that. And let's grab our bee jars, and we're going to head to the overworld. Okay, now right over here, I know there's a beehive right here. Let's pop over to that. And we're going to go ahead and just hit that with the shears and get our honeycomb. And while we're out here, let's go ahead and just grab the magnet ring. Just in case we miss anything or whatnot. And we're going to set out in search of both bees and in search of honeycombs. So these right here, we're just going to grab these with Silk Touch. No honey in it. We're going to take this one with Silk Touch. It's got 3 bees in it, and I think what we'll do is we'll just relocate them home. But we want to be on the lookout for bees, like the leafy bee. What do we have? Third Eye 2. Well, we're going to capture the leafy bee. We do have a bee nest here, but not enough honey in it to really amount to much. But I do see a birch bee nest here. I want to take this. And what was that bee that was flying around? Right here. A beeper. Let's take that. Now, there is an artifact that's going to make bees not attack us, so we're probably... Actually, let's take a look at that really quick. Yeah, Guide to Animal Companionship. While in your inventory, your attacks can't deal damage to animals, hoglins around you are rendered passive, and wolves and bees stay neutral towards you. That's what we want. We're going to need a couple dandelions. That one looks like a spider. That is a spider. I know this pack has a few additional bees over... There's a mason. Over what just ATM 6 had. Now we have this bee nest that has 3 bees in it. So we're going to take that as well. Because we're going to be using a few of these and setting them up just to get honeycombs, basically. And we're going to use those, just the vanilla honeycomb blocks, I think, just to bypass having to work our way up through the bee nest to make our apiaries. And we're going to go for like 3 of every bee. Because I think that is like the perfect spot. Because that way you have enough to breed additional bees if you want to. But then you can also have one in, an apiary. So now right now we're not really looking for specific types, because we're really just going to be setting them up and using their honey to fill jars. But we are going to be getting progressively more into it, and we're going to be doing some automation with it in the coming episodes. Now there's an acclimator up here. Let's see if we can... these tend to have some pretty good loot in them. We did get a Heart of the Earth. We got more bunny slippers. Yeah, here's an RGB. Let's take that. And we got another spider bee. Another RGB. Our last spider bee. And then, there we go, another leafy bee. And actually, there is our last leafy bee. So we've got 3 spooky bees, 3 leafy bees, 3 spider bees at the moment. Well, there's 3 bees in this beehive. I want to take that. And we got a dirt bee and another dirt bee. And there's our last mason bee. And then we got a lumber bee here. And another lumber bee. And our last dirt bee. Oh, and actually these have lumber bee, spider bee, mason bee, spooky bee inside of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and get ourselves a few of these. And that way we can get our book on animal companionship. There is that. While in your inventory. Okay. Perfect. So now bees and stuff shouldn't attack us. Well, you know, they're still neutral. They're not going to attack us just on site like they have been. And then I want to see if we pop back. Let me grab these bee nests. And if we were to have these set up, let's say right back here, for example. Well, if the rain would stop, that is. Because they're not going to come out during the rain, but I don't know how the time, since it's like dawn, I don't know if the bees are going to come out whenever the rain stops or not. If not, then, you know, we'll have to make some adjustments and plans for that. But if they will come out, then that would be great. But we'll go ahead and drop these down. I don't remember. Well, one of these is lumber and spider. And the other one is mason and spooky. Okay. So the spooky bee, for example, it needs a bone block. So let me get one of these. Lumber bee needs just any kind of wood. Not a whole lot around here, so let me just grab like, I don't know, like a lunar log. And what about the spider bee? It needs wool. So for right now, we're just going to pile up some of these blocks around here so that they can see those and use those as flowers. Of course, we're going to be waiting for the rain to stop, so I'll be back here in just a moment. Okay, yeah. It looks like with the day-night cycle here, it seems like our bees are going to be running all the time. It looks like our mason has went way over there. I think mason is like any kind of stone, but I think it's not showing it in the book for some reason. It doesn't really matter. I don't need to keep this mason bee. So if it wanders off, gets lost, it dies, it doesn't really matter to us. These bees are going to be focused on this dandelion. That's the only one that I actually care about, is these bees. Let me go ahead now and make just a couple things that we're going to use just very, very briefly. Let's get ourselves a scraper. And let's also get a smoker. We're going to need the bellow, and we're going to need the canister. Okay, this one here is ready to harvest now. Oh, that smoker does not work with them, by the way. So just a heads up. I'll have to actually use the fire for that. But if I fly far enough away, they should lose interest in me and give up chasing. It looks like they've lost interest. Okay, well, we've got a bit of honeycombs here, and then we've got some lumber, spooky, and spider. Looks like this one is ready to harvest from, so we're going to smoke it, and we're just going to scrape it. We are getting some regular bees coming into here, which is fine. But we're going to let these bees keep working for a bit. And we're going to get ourselves some honeycomb blocks. And we should be able to use these, right? Yeah, for the apiaries. That's perfect. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give this some time to run. I'm going to keep gathering some honeycombs, and I'm going to do just a little bit of setup for where our apiary is going to go. I have a plan for how we're going to be setting those up within this series. So I'll be back here in just a bit. Okay, I actually just got my last honeycombs here to put us up to 8 honeycomb blocks. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and we're going to craft 2 things. First up, we're going to craft a tier 1 apiary. And we will need these. Maybe that recipe is just bugged then. Because normally you're supposed to tier up like this and actually get the proper beehives, but I thought, well, maybe we can bypass it. Because, you know, it's showing these in all the recipes. And I guess we'll just automate a tier 1 beehive and then just rank it up real quick. We'll just cut and rank it up real fast. Okay, so we're going to pop down here to this kind of unfinished little area where we're going to be setting up a lot of our bees. I think I'm actually going to end up dropping this floor and making this kind of more of like a comb shape is what I have in mind, but and then kind of spanning it out. I'd like to have a bunch of bees, I think, and just kind of all in this like honeycomb type design. But anyways, what we are going to do, I've got a couple spots cut out. I'm actually going to put in, we'll just put a block in right there for right now, just to kind of block this off. And we're going to put in, let's see, let's open, well, we'll open that up here in a second. Let's go ahead first and get, I actually want to use these if we can. Let's get 2 tier 1 beehives. Actually, we're going to need 4 in order to get the apiary. So we'll get that, and then to upgrade, we're going to need beeswax. Let's try and see what we can pull out of this. Let's go ahead and just get just a manual centrifuge. We're going to start with that. We are going to be setting up for some RF power before too long, but of course, in this pack, it's a little bit different. There's a couple different options, like Botania, Nature's Aura, or Create. Maybe a couple other options, but those are the ones that come to mind just immediately for RF power. We're not actually getting lucky on the beeswax, though. That's what I was kind of hoping we would be getting. We did get a honey bottle out of that one, so. And smooth stone. Yeah, if we set up power, we could do the centrifuge. We might actually do that this episode. Which if we do, it'll have to be Create. Which is fine. We could plug it up. We're actually going to be running our Create stuff down to here pretty soon. So we might actually do that this episode. It depends on if we get to automating our stuff this episode, because we're actually going to need it. But we'll see. For right now, I just kind of want to push through the apiaries. And then I might set up for Create. I was thinking of having a windmill down here just to power our setup. But we're going to go ahead and set up an ender hopper with an obsidian chest here just to collect the items that are going to be coming from our bees. And I guess we'll be going with the tier 1 beehives for now. We're just going to set these up right here. Now, all of these count as logs. Of course, this is the striped helix logs, which I got from the alchemy station. And then just some orange mosaic glass. So all of this is good for, like, say, lumber bees. We're going to go ahead and break there and there directly under our beehives. And we're going to put in a dispenser right here and a dispenser right here. Because, of course, a dispenser, when it has a scraper, if it gets a redstone signal, it will scrape the beehives once they fill up with honey, of course. But we're going to put campfires right underneath that. And you can see that it says that these are smoked now. And, of course, that's to prevent the bees from misbehaving. And then we're probably just going to, we're going to open up, maybe just back in here. Maybe just open this up. And then what we'll do is we will, let's grab ourselves some redstone. We're going to run out redstone here. Run it back like so. And then let's just open this up a little bit here. We're going to put in an adjustable repeater right here. And of course, this repeater, we can adjust the time for the delay. And in this case, we're going to set the timer to about 5 seconds. Let's go 4 seconds, will be fine. So that way it's going to trigger, after it receives a redstone signal, it's going to trigger a redstone signal out the front side of it after 4 seconds of delay. And then what we're going to do is put a repeater right next to it, and we're going to set the delay up. This is just a regular repeater. Set the delay up to 4 ticks, and then we're just going to run redstone like that. And then to get this going, we are just going to need a lever. Just grab a lever. This is just going to be to jumpstart this. So if we hit this now with redstone, that's going to cycle 4 seconds, then it's going to come back around and hit this adjustable pulse repeater. And we basically made a 4-second timer. You know, since we don't have, like, say, a hovering hourglass or something at the moment. Just an easy little timer system there. I'll probably just go ahead and block up this space back here a little bit. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and just put that in there right for now. Just so my bees don't fly back there and get stuck for the time being. And then we've got enough space here for 4 bees per beehive. So let's go ahead, and I think we're going to be going with our lumber bees for sure. And this will give us a little source of wood kind of coming in as well. But we can get these going. And we definitely want to be putting like 8 bees into this, just so, you know, we have maximum honey coming in as fast as it can. Yeah, let's take 2 RGBs, 3 lumber bees, and then we'll just take like 3 dirty bees, I think. So we'll just put in some dirt, and then on top of that we'll put our flowers, and that way all of our bees can run. Now, once of course the honey level hits 5, the scraper then on that every 4 seconds it will scrape and clear out some of the combs that are in this. And this is a process that's just going to take a while. It's going to have to run kind of passively in the background. So it'll give me some time to do some building, edit some footage and stuff like that. And then once we manage to get some beeswax, then we can upgrade the beehives, rinse and repeat. A little bit of a process here because to actually get our apiary, we're going to need 4 tier 4 beehives. We're going to need a bunch of honeycombs. We're going to need a bunch of beeswax, but overall shouldn't be too bad for us. And of course, as we move up, we can increase the amount of bees if we want to, and we can it'll increase the speed that they run and increase the maximum amount of honeycombs that can go inside of that. So this one here is up to a honey level of 4. We'll give it just a second, and then we should start seeing the scraper kind of start to work, because we do have 3 bees in there. There we go. We have a honey level of 5, and you can see that the honeycombs are now getting scraped out of that. And there we go. It just dropped down back to 0 honey level, and then it has to build back up. So we got 4 lumber honeycombs and a dirty honeycomb. Now, if we take a look here, are these 20%? 20% for beeswax. Oh, this one does apples. That's not great, but the lumber honeycombs, what we'll do for now is we can use these to make our honeycomb blocks and use them as the honeycomb slot. And let's see, the RGB honeycombs do produce beeswax. Perfect. Okay. So lumber is just going to be for the honeycomb blocks. We do have a few honeycomb blocks from before, but that should be fine because we're going to need a bit of these honey bottles and dirt. It's a lot of dirt. It's going to be a good source of dirt. But yeah, so I'm going to let this run for a bit, and we'll make sure that it's chunk loaded. Even though I should be, probably it is chunk loaded. I should be within the range of it, I think, for the most part. But we'll just kind of let this run, and then hopefully get a bunch of honeycombs, come back, and then hopefully get some beeswax. So far, the 20% hasn't really been working in our favor, but hopefully that will change. So, but anyways, I will be back here in just a bit. I might build out this area, or I might do some building above ground. Honestly, I might build out this area a bit, because I'd like to get our... probably use create for now. Actually, yeah, we're going to be using create because some of the automation I need down here is going to require create. So I'll be probably expanding this out, maybe build another hive and start kind of coming up with how all this is going to plug in together and set up our create system down here. Okay, I got enough beeswax now to upgrade 2 of them. Let's go ahead and get ourselves 8 honeycombs. And we're going to go ahead and just upgrade these 2, I think. So there is a tier 2 beehive and another tier 2 beehive. This is going to cut down on our hive time. And let's just replace these then with the tier 2 beehives. And make sure... I had to actually break this block, or I had to break the beehive earlier, because this little notch where they come out was actually facing into that block, and I didn't realize it when I first put it down. So I did have to fix that. But now these can both store 6 bees, so now at this point I can add 4 additional bees and hopefully speed up the process of getting our beeswax, because it is a little bit time consuming to get that beeswax to build up. So I may add, like, I don't know, something that can produce beeswax. I don't need anything else just producing honeycombs like our lumber bees. But, you know, maybe the spider honeycomb, they can't. What about leafy? Leafy can't. Spooky, I don't think it'll be able to. I think it makes the skeleton drop. No, it makes bone meal. So, no, but maybe mason. No, it makes brick. So I might have to go out and find some other bees that will produce something useful to us. Actually, regular honeycombs, 25% chance. So may even just throw in some regular bees, because, you know, we've got some inside of these. And we can even take these honeycombs and actually take these honeycombs. Yeah, we might actually be able to, at a 25% chance, a little better than what we're getting off those other honeycombs anyways. Okay, and after processing down, you know, a stack, basically, we do have a stack of sugar. We have quite a bit of beeswax and quite a bit of honey bottles. So we're doing pretty good on those. So yeah, I'm probably going to put just our regular bees in there. And then break the hive, so that way they're pretty much forced to use the Resourceful Bees hive. Since right now our main priority is getting that beeswax built up. And really, once we get up to where we're making the tier 4 beehives, the honey blocks are going to be easy, because we're going to have the honey bottles built up. The beeswax is honestly the worst part for us. But yeah, we'll let these build up, and then before too long we should have enough beeswax to go for probably just straight for a tier 4. Okay, I did go ahead and upgrade this one to a tier 3 earlier. And now we're at the point where we can upgrade one more to a tier 3, so we're going to go ahead and grab that. Let's grab Theos. And then there is our tier 3, our next tier 3. Now we do have enough honey blocks right now, and yeah, we'll be good to get our first tier 4 at this point. So there is our very first tier 4. Now I'm going to have to get all of these ranked up. So at this point, it's going to be just kind of a waiting game to get a bit more beeswax. Another, stack and 8 beeswax to get these upgraded to the tier 3. And then, of course, building up a lot of honeycombs. The honey blocks, they're not really probably going to be an issue, because I can go ahead and do that also. So I've got enough for... Well, I've got enough for the remainder of these to upgrade them to the tier 4s, but it's basically going to be the beeswax and then building up all the honeycomb blocks. The honeycomb blocks shouldn't be too bad. The beeswax probably take the longest, realistically. And really, at this point, I could remove this beehive and have them all going just into this tier 4. Or just increase my bee count. I don't know. I've just been building, so I haven't really been that worried about the time too much. So, yeah, I'll probably just let these run as they is. Probably not add any more bees, at least at the moment. As I continue kind of just building out this hive section here and expanding what we've got going on. So, I'll be back here in a bit once I get the 4 tier 4 beehives. Then I'm gonna clean up all the bees that we've got, get them all stored back, and then we'll make our apiary. So I'll be back here in a bit. Okay, it's pulling out probably what's going to be the last of our honeycombs here, at least for us to get rolling and get our apiary at least set up. We're going to leave this running for just a little bit longer, so I'm not going to pull out the bees just yet. But I did go ahead and I removed the other one over here, and I'm just running a single beehive, but it does have, there's 16 bees within this room, so we can have all of these running. But let's get to where we can access this. The placement's a little bit awkward. Let's go ahead and get 18 of each of these. I was just a little shy by the time I got my last beeswax. And then we are going to turn all these into honeycomb blocks. Now, to get everything that I would love to have, we're actually going to need another 8 honeycomb blocks. But like I said, we're going to leave this running for a bit. And it actually shouldn't take that long. The only time that it stops running, since there is no day-night cycle here, the only time that it does stop running is whenever it rains. And we will probably be solving that fairly soon. Assuming that we can solve it within blue skies. But I think we should be able to. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to wait to get our apiary for just a moment, but we are going to go ahead and get ourselves an apiary storage. So there's that. And, whoops. We're going to be putting this in right here. We're going to be setting up our apiary on the opposite side here. And then we're going to go ahead and use 4 more of these to make another apiary storage. So there's that. And then we're going to go ahead and just upgrade a storage upgrade. Oh, and there are these. We could have used these to upgrade our apiaries, but or our bee nest as we went. We won't be using them to upgrade our apiaries, but we could use them for the beehives. So, but we are going to go ahead and get our iron storage upgrade, which there might be. Yeah, I think there's achievements for it. And then we're going to get our gold storage upgrade. We are going to get our diamond. We are going to get our emerald. And then we're going to go ahead and just apply this, and that way we have a lot of storage within our apiary storage. Alright, now while this is running, I'm building us up a few more honeycombs, because it will take just a minute. We're going to do just a couple things here. First and foremost, let's grab our diamond knife. And out of curiosity, can we enchant this? I'm sure we can. Fire aspect 2. Okay, well what I would rather have is basically the sharpness 4 and looting 3. We're going to go ahead and take that. And then we're going to head out. Of course, we did get ourselves a few hams here. Also, since this has to be smelted, well, it can't be smelted, though. It has to be smoked. So I don't know that fire aspect would actually work for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop into the overworld. You know, we did get a couple hams here. But we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a few more hams. We're just going to kill pigs. Hoglins are great too. And we will be setting up a space for pigs around the courtyard there. But, oh yeah, I can't... as long as I have this book on me, I'm not going to be able to hurt them though. We got 5 hams. It doesn't seem like looting is actually taking effect on these though. I don't think. I think it's a single ham per kill, which still is fine because bear in mind that we're going to get 4 meals out of each of these, though. So it actually comes out to be pretty good. But at this point, we do have a bit of honey bottles, and we can easily get more of them. Now, next episode, we're actually going... I know we don't have time this episode, but next episode, we are going to be doing a little bit of automation related to our bees. So that is something that we're starting to kind of work towards. Oh yeah, I am going to have to smelt this, smoke it. And there we go. Now we have smoked ham. And then, of course, this we can turn into our honey glazed ham as our kind of Christmas food. Now, I meant to have this done a bit sooner because Christmas is fast approaching on us. But, oh yeah, and we don't actually have to make this in the cooking pot either. And then, of course, we can start cooking up our rice to get our cooked rice. Which we will use to make our honey glazed ham. And then beyond that, you know, that's pretty much it. It is going to take 2 cooked rice per, but that's really not that bad. Of course, we can always use bone meal on our rice if we need to. And so let's go ahead and get ourselves some honey glazed ham. And we'll be making 3 of these to start with. So, there we go. Alright, and as per usual, one of these is going to be just used as a decoration, so we'll put it over here. We're actually going to be making a bunch of these up as decorations later on. I wonder, can I put these sideways? Like, yeah, I can. That's great. Okay, so these two we're actually just going to be taking them in bowls, and we'll be eating this meat. Oh, does it actually make 5? Oh no, we get a bone and a bowl back from that. Okay. So we did get to manufacture our very first plates of honey glazed ham. And we can easily, you know, make more of those and kill some pigs and make a bunch more, you know. And I think my thorns killed a couple bees because I came back on accident without my guide to animal friendship. But that's okay. I'm actually going to start bottling up some of these at this point. Because we actually don't need these here anymore. We have enough honeycombs. And then at this point, we can go ahead and take this beehive back out. Because we're not going to need it in here anymore. And also, all of this can pretty much go at this point. You will notice I did turn down the time to 1 second, just so it cleared out. As we got to bigger beehives, it was taking a while at a 4-second rate to clear that out. So I did go ahead and just cut down on that time a bit. But we're not going to need any of this stuff anymore at this point. So we'll just go ahead and fill all this in. And let's go ahead and make ourselves our tier 1 apiary at this point. No, this recipe. There we go. And make a beehive a home. We're going to put this in actually right. I'm going to fill this back block in. We're going to put this in right here. And you will notice that it goes ahead and it opens up. Now, if we didn't have, for example, say, this block right here. Of course, it is going to, you're going to get this screen. And you can do a preview. Preview tends to be kind of buggy, as you can see. Because it's actually not supposed to show blocks that are missing. If I recall correctly. But not really a big deal. We know it's just a box. You can fill it with as many blocks as you want. Like I did these little bits here. These that kind of come into the open space. But, you know, it doesn't cause any issue. Any kind of furniture and stuff like that can go in here. As long as it is technically a box. Basically, you're just going to be looking for anything that has the valid apiary, Resourceful Bees valid apiary tag. And if so, then it'll work, which most blocks work. So we have a little screen here. We are going to start populating this with bees at this point. Now, before we do that, before we start taking things and adding them into here, let's go ahead, make ourselves one more apiary storage. And then we're going to go ahead and get an apiary breeder. And that's just so that we have the option down the road if we want to breed inside of this apiary, we can. And so we're just going to put that in right there. And you can see that that gives us an additional screen down here that we'll be able to tab through. And we can set up breeds if we so desire. And of course add upgrades. We're not going to be getting into the upgrades today. But we might briefly mention it next episode. I think these upgrades anyways are going to take... yeah, they're going to take apiary storages, so I'm going to need hive blocks, something I'm going to have to build up, you know. Or, I mean, honeycomb blocks, not hive blocks. And this scraper is useless. We'll just toss that now. Because we probably won't ever be using scrapers anymore. But at this point, what we'll be able to do is then access our bees and everything bee related from the front here. And if we need to access, say, the bee import-export, we can do that here, or the apiary breeder here. Alright, now, of course, the apiary can have 9 bees. They have to be unique, so they have to be different types of bees. We're going to be adding just a regular bee. We're also going to be adding a lumber bee. We're going to be adding a dirty bee. We are going to be adding a RGB. And got some extras of these. These are going to be my breeding pairs. And we're also going to add in a spider bee. We are going to add in a mason bee. We're going to be adding in a spooky bee. We're going to be adding in a leafy bee. And while we're at it, just to have 9 bees in here and go ahead and fill it out, we're going to go ahead and add in a beeper also. Okay, now we're going to pull up a few blocks here. I'm actually going to pull up the block opposite this just to put in a dirt block. And then on top of that, we will be putting... what did I do with the flour? Maybe I didn't get the flour. That's fine. I think it took it out of my inventory whenever I crafted the breeder. But we're going to go ahead and just put in, like, say, a dandelion. I may change this to a grass block later on. But that way we have our dirty bee and our regular bee taken care of. And we're going to go ahead and put, say, the regular bee in here, and we're going to say import, and we're going to unlock it. And that way it'll be able to leave the hive here once the ticks go down to 0. We're going to go ahead and put in a lumber bee, unlock. We are going to go ahead and put in a dirty bee and unlock. The RGB will be able to be put in right now because it just needs a flower. So we'll go ahead and do that. Make sure and keep these unlocked. And then we're going to go ahead and put in, say, a bone block, like right there. And that way we can put in our spooky bee. And these are starting to come out. And if you take a look here, the apiary, it's going to be a 35% hive time modification. So they're not going to spend a whole lot of time in here. We will speed up their time outside the hive later on, just like we did on ATM 6 with Elemental Craft. We will do that, but not right this second. And this hive, or this tier 1 apiary outputs 8 combs per time that the bees go in. So we're going to be getting a massive amount of honeycomb. We will definitely be getting into power next episode and just automation in general. And then, of course, the tier 2 goes up to 16 honeycombs per process. And then we start getting honeycomb blocks 4 and 8 times and get up to a 50% hive time modification. Now, this pack doesn't have the better centrifuges and the better apiaries. You know, there's only 2 tiers of centrifuges. There's only 4 tiers of apiaries within this pack. And then let's get ourselves some wool. We're going to be going with some black wool here. We'll just put that in right there, and that way we can run our spider bee. And you can actually, well, okay, there we go. We just got 8 dirty honeycombs from our dirty bee. So that's great. The mason bee, I believe it requires stone. It doesn't actually show it within this pack. Like, if we take a look at the mason honeycombs, to actually produce this, it does not have a bee flower. And then for the beeper, it actually doesn't show it as having a block. And I wonder if that's because it took the ATM 6 configurations for bees, because, you know, there was a gunpowder block in there. But there's not a gunpowder block in this. There's gunpowder sack. But that's like, we might not see the mason bee actually do anything. He's not noticing the clay. So both of these might be bugged in this current version of ATM Spellbound, and we may not be able to use either of these, since they're not displaying a flower. So yeah, in that case, we'll just go ahead and take that. I don't think we're going to be able to use these. So hopefully that's something that we'll see get fixed in later updates. Now the leafy bee does just require leaves, so we're going to pop out, we're going to get some leaves. And then we're also going to try to find 2 more bees that we can throw in there. One that I do particularly want to get is the cobby. I'll be keeping my eyes out for one of those. There's 2 more beepers. I'm going to take them even though they're practically useless at the moment. Though I think they may come up when it comes to bee breeding. And we should still be able to breed them. We just won't be able to actually run them for drops. Like, what about a zombie? Yes, using organic compost. And then we've got a sandy bee here. And I'm assuming that's probably going to be sand. It is. Perfect. Now, something that'll be interesting is the zombie. Since it uses organic compost, that's something that we're going to have to, maybe down the road, set up a way to change that out constantly, because it will eventually compost. It's not going to be super fast, but it will be something that we may need to set up for automation over time to have a new piece of compost placed, because after a while it will become fertile soil. So, and then the sandy bee, we'll go ahead and import that one. And of course that's just going to be sand. And then we're going to need some organic compost, and that way we can throw in our very last bee, right? Yeah, that's 6. And we're going to import that, and that is the zombie. So we'll put in our organic compost right there. Might change the placement of blocks a little bit. But all these bees are now going to be running, and we can pop out. And then, of course, we will be able to breed from here using this right here, not having to do it in world. You know, it just makes it a little bit easier for us. But if we take a look here, you can see we're building up a literal ton of combs extremely fast. We're never going to have to worry about honeycomb blocks. And in essence, really not have to worry about beeswax and honey and stuff like that. It's a little bit manual at the moment, but we're going to be automating it. I did spend a little bit of time clearing out and planning for these different floors, and my idea is to have kind of this like layered hive where we can walk between floors, and it's like this orange mosaic glass, which to me kind of looks like crystallized honey that's formed. And then we're going to kind of open things up a little bit while still kind of keeping everything tight, because, you know, actual beehives, they're going to be really, really tight corridors. So I'm trying to kind of keep it feeling somewhat tight without being too tight for actual play, you know. I didn't want it to be like 1 block wide and that be our space. And then, of course, this staircase comes down a layer, a level below that, so... but yeah, so I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode, so we are going to end this one out here, and then next episode, like I said, we're going to come through and we're going to automate our bees. And get this system kind of automated so that this stuff is being taken to the centrifuge and getting processed, and we're getting all this stuff coming in automatically, which will help us out quite a bit. The RGBs, I think I'm probably just going to leave them as honeycombs, and that's going to be the honeycomb that we use maybe to make honeycomb blocks, because we'll also be able to use these to make dyes. And of course, bear in mind, it actually doesn't matter which dye that we make, because we can change these over with the alchemy table. So if, for example, we make a whole bunch of blue dye, then we can convert that over to whatever color we might need, and then convert it back if we need to. So, super, super handy, this thing right here. And the different logs, it's been so nice. Of course, we're not going to use it for anything like progression skip, but we are using it for building. So I had access to these helix tree logs, even though we haven't been to the end. And of course, at this point, we can pretty much... Especially once we get this automated, we'll have wood essence coming in, so we'll have endless wood. But this isn't the tree farm that we're going to be sticking with. I really just mostly want it for honey, and then, you know, other stuff coming in, because why not? But we are still going to set up a proper tree farm as well. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button, and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.